Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Professor Layton vs. Phoenix Wright. Previously, Phoenix was in court, and he scrambled for any little crumb of truth that he could hang on to. Classic Phoenix. Well, he ended up proving a great point. It was impossible for Isabella to hold the magic scepter required to cast the spell that took the life of two men. He reasoned that because her hand must have been clenched around the scepter, the lantern couldn't have slid off her wrist. And that's got all the witnesses, the four simultaneous witnesses, all in a tizzy, and now they have more things to say. And might I add, one witness in particular, the one named Murderer McGee, she was acting pretty alarmed when it looked like the trial might go on and continue, so... I wonder why. Anyway. The girl was not holding the scepter in the same hand as the lantern, which means it must have been in her other hand.
Hold it!
But did you actually see that with your own eyes? Alas, magic's vile embrace hid the scepter from my sight, so I did not see it per se. However, through my years of knightly training, I have learned to see through such cunning trickery. Is that so? For example, this morning I found myself unable to locate the whereabouts of my trusty blade. Its location was a mystery. So I tried my hardest to think and remember where I would have kept it last. And before long, behold, it transpired I was carrying my trusty blade in a scabbard all along. Life is riddled with such trickery. Oh, brother. Would you say life is riddled with trickery, Nick? Only if we're talking about my life, Maya. True. The accused is holding a milk bucket in the court illustration. Who's to say she wasn't also holding the scepter in that hand?
Hold it!
The court illustration. Yeah, can we get that submitted to evidence yet? That's right. Judging by this sketch alone, it does look possible for her to have held the scepter. However, if you actually try holding that thing, you'll notice just how thick it is. No way could she have been holding it.
Objection!
That is nothing more than mere speculation. You cannot say for certain that she was unable to hold it. You say speculation. I say it's a fact. There's just no way Isabella could have been holding that thing. As expected, this testimony is filled with nothing but assumptions and conjecture. Mr. Layton. You know, Mr. Wright, there does not appear to be any usable evidence present in the court illustration. Yeah, I agree. It does look that way. The milk bucket ended up disappearing from the scene. Could that actually be an important piece of evidence in itself? Yeah. When you're dealing with both an invisibility spell in play, or, well, at least the possibility for an invisibility spell, and a piece of evidence that has gone missing completely and wasn't able to be found, yeah, that's reasonable to connect the two. That milk bucket is lighter than it looks. Even Snowy could carry it, so she could have easily held the scepter as well.
Hold it!
Just 1 second, Miss Mary. What is it now? Snowy and I don't have all night, you know. Come on then, out with it. That poor goat. Or maybe it is a sheep. I just have one question regarding your testimony. How exactly did you know that the bucket Miss Cantabella was carrying was light enough for Snowy to carry? Well, You see, the girl always uses the same bucket whenever she comes to buy milk from us. Naturally, I would have seen that bucket countless times before. You've seen it countless times before. That doesn't answer my question. You specifically said that bucket is lighter than it looks. Miss Mary, at some point tonight you must have held that bucket yourself. Oh. Now then, please enlighten us as to exactly when you got your hand on the bucket. It's true. By that time, Robs and mugs had already been burnt to ash. And then I noticed the milk in that bucket that the girl had been holding in her hand. The milk? Then, when those two went up in a blaze, Snowy and I made a dash for the bucket. As the girl stood there looking confused, we took the milk from her to make sure it was okay. Huh? Huh? Unbelievable. Witness, you... Oh. Well, it was just so wasteful, the thought of all that disgusting ash falling into such precious milk. I felt I just had to protect the milk, so I took the bucket back to the farm with me. Wow. Madame, do you mean to tell the court that you took evidence from a crime scene back home with you? That explains why we were unable to locate the milk bucket at the scene. Oh my, you're scaring poor Snowy. Here, I brought the bucket with me anyway. See, I didn't even tamper with the milk. I'm sure you didn't. The court shall accept this milk bucket as evidence. Looks like that's one more piece of evidence for us. Now, will the gentleman with the impressive beard proceed with his testimony? Hey, game recognizes game. I did not see this milk bucket. Everything felt like an illusion.
Hold it!
You didn't see the bucket. Indeed, naturally there was no way of me noticing the witch before the crime occurred. My mind was placid as the most placid of placid lakes. But like the early bird on its morning hunt for that elusive worm, my senses remained vigilant. You do realize the other witnesses have all testified to having seen Miss Cantabella carrying that bucket, though. And when you have journeyed as far as I have through life, you find all is but an illusion. That is, except for Lord Storyteller, of course. That's it for the testimony. Still, something is bound to be there. I can't believe Mary took the bucket home with her. Miss Mary must be one of those thieving forest wolves we've been hearing about. Forgot about those. Oh. Maybe that was Muggs and Rob. Maybe they were part of some gang that had a name evocative of wolves. Let us hope she doesn't eat like a wolf as well, Luke, for her snowy snake sake. I can't imagine her eating Snowy. I've got this new piece of evidence, but the question is, how can I use it? You know, looking at this milk bucket now, it does look sort of different from the sketch, don't you think? Oh? It might be a good idea to get a nice good look at the actual milk bucket. Hey! I was planning on looking at the bucket right here. Wait. I can't actually look at it closer. Alright. Okay. I feel like it's pretty obvious I need to use the bucket of milk because the bucket of milk is the one and only thing that's changed in this situation. There's no new added testimony or anything. It has to be this. Well, do I present this here and say, then you clearly didn't see the crime occur at all? Man, we're peeling apart these testimonies one by one. Kira has poor eyesight and needs her glasses. This old man probably didn't even see the crime. Oh, whoops, I meant to hit the other button. That's it for the testimony. Still, something is bound to be there. Can't believe Mary took the... Yeah, okay. I thought that might be new, but... Yeah, okay, this game doesn't have the hold down button to skip dialogue you've already seen feature. That sucks. I guess I just need to manually mash. I guess I need to... Yeah. It's definitely the most suspicious thing. Where's it in the milk bucket here?
Objection!
All of your testimonies have come to the same conclusion. The scepter was not in her right hand with the lantern. Therefore, it must have been in her other hand that was holding the bucket. However, that's not it. Not by a long shot. What do you mean? Contrary to what one of the witnesses stated, the milk bucket was in fact at the crime scene. And you'll also notice something about this bucket. Take another look at the court illustration. Something about the bucket seems a bit odd, wouldn't you say?
Objection!
This illustration was based on eyewitness accounts, so a small discrepancy or two is conceivable.
Objection!
Actually, Inquisitor Barnum, it's highly likely that this illustration is much less accurate than you think. In fact, there is a blatant contradiction present in this illustration. Oh yeah, that handle's made of rope, not wood. Admittedly, it does at first look possible that Miss Cantabella was holding the scepter and the bucket at the same time. Ah, right, because when you look at this... Yeah, I was like, what an odd design. The sides of that bucket, the sides of the handle, look pretty conspicuous, but I chalked it up to like the art style, but... Yeah, no, the wood next to the handle rises up too high. There's no way for her to grip the handle and the scepter. The scepter wouldn't fit. However, if you look at the real milk bucket, that possibility goes up in smoke. Here, let's have a look at the real deal. Notice the handle. That cannot be. Oh, but it is. This particular milk bucket has two pieces of wood on either side of the handle. If you were to try and hold both the scepter and this bucket, well, let's just say that'd be a challenge. To put it simply, There is no way anyone could hold both the bucket and the scepter at once.
What?
That must mean clearly you have the wrong bucket.
We never lie when it comes to milk. That is the very bucket I took.
Kira has nothing to say, huh? It looks like the witnesses are as surprised about this as Barnum. The defendant couldn't have been able to hold the bucket and the scepter at once. Also, we have already established that she was not holding a scepter in her right hand. Therefore, the defendant, Miss Espella Cantabella, was not holding a witch's scepter at any point during the incident. Order, order, I said order. Just what is the meaning of this? In all my days as judge of this court, I have never heard such an argument. These are but a paltry set of words, and yet they ring with such remarkable strength. Your Honor, what you just heard was logic. Logic, you say.
What is with these two? They just silenced Inquisitor Barnum with mere words.
Such foolishness. This must be some type of witchcraft.
Wait, do you think... Could they be witches?
Oh my god! Come on, dude. It would seem that the concept of logic does not exist in this world. Oh, screen cap that. That is a meme. You could put that under, like, any image on the internet. Oh, man. The concept of logic does not exist in this world. Well, okay. To be frank, yeah, you know what? Fine. I buy that. I mean, this is a populace that is just content to be spoon-fed every whim and fancy of the storyteller and the big names like Barnum, so... Yeah, no, I believe it.
Right, then let's take this chance to knock their case down a peg or two.
I'm worried if we keep this up, we'll all be joining Espella in a one-way trip to the flames.
Objection!
Most intriguing. A knight allows his sword to speak for him during battle. You have spoken with a sword of words. So be it. I too shall wield such a blade. What do you mean? Sir Blue Knight, there appears to be a hole in this logic of yours. A hole? According to the earlier testimony, it was believed the accused had the lantern hanging from her wrist by the handle. However, she supposedly dropped it, hence it being covered in mud. That's right. While that may be true, it does not necessarily mean the accused was therefore unable to use magic. It is merely a question of when she dropped the witch's scepter. What do you mean, Inquisitor Barnum? It is very simple, my lord. The accused, while first holding the lantern and the witch's scepter, cast her magic. Then, she dropped both the lantern and the scepter. Oh! The witch's scepter was dropped after the spell was cast. Of course, yes, that must be it. What say you, Sir Blue Knight? That is but a taste of the knightly knowledge of the Inquisition. Wow.
Wow, Wow, Sir Barnum cut through that baker's witchery like a hot knife through butter. Exemplary. I expected nothing less from the hand of Barnum. Oh, to be able to shake that powerful hand someday.
That Inquisitor isn't quite what he first appeared.
Yeah, sure seems that way. Just a moment ago it seemed like he'd never even heard of logical debate. Now he's suddenly using it against us. This guy is no joke, that's for sure. Now then, most honorable witnesses, I ask that you lend us your aid once more. I request that you all testify to the court once more. Tell us which occurred first, the dropping of the lantern or the casting of the spell.
Witnesses, you may begin your testimonies. Tell this court in your own words about the sequence of events which transpired tonight.
This would be good. I'm half expecting none of them to match up. Of course, the lantern fell to the ground after the incantation of Ignace. Sploosh! I'm as sure as snow he is white. I made certain to keep my eyes peeled on that milk bucket after all. Besides, how can you be sure the lantern fell just because it has a little mud on it? These eyes do not lie. I saw the lantern in the accused's hand when the incantation was uttered. Figures. Their testimonies are all over the place now.
These 4 testimonies, they are most interesting. The witnesses all saw the same thing, and yet, people's memories are evidently quite fickle. They can never be a truly reliable source.
Well then, Professor, with enough poking and prodding, I bet we can really cause their testimonies to crumble. Of course, need to exploit their fickle memories to turn this thing around. We've got this, Nick. We'll press them so hard they won't even remember what they had for breakfast. I can't even remember what I had for breakfast. I'm gonna guess... bread.
Now, Sir Baker, you may begin your interrogation.
With pleasure. Of course, the lantern fell to the ground after the incantation of Ignace. Sploosh!
Hold it!
The lantern fell after the incantation. Are you positive about that? I say I am positively positive that I am positive. I heard her voice and then sploosh. That sploosh, was that the sound of the lantern hitting the ground? Indeed, but of course, do you see? But if you look at the lantern, you'll notice that the glass is shattered. You specifically said you heard a sploosh. Shouldn't you have heard the sound of the glass shattering when it hit the ground? The sound of glass shattering. No, I'm afraid I failed to catch your drift. Huh? I was present in an area a bit farther away from the crime scene. You see, I have no recollection of hearing such a sound. Mary? No recollection. Precisely so. I'll have you know I can easily hear a dog barking across town. Do not underestimate my hearing. I wasn't. Relaxed, Grandpa. There is nothing of interest in this testimony. Will the witness with the goat please proceed with her testimony? Oh, right. You mean us? You startled us, didn't he, Snowy? Interesting. I'm as sure as Snowy is white. I made certain to keep my eyes peeled on that milk bucket after all. Well, we're not asking about the milk bucket. We're talking about the lantern, lady.
Hold it!
But earlier, you stated that Miss Cantabella had the lantern hanging from her wrist. Well, not quite. We didn't say for certain. We only believed it was on her wrist. Believed? Yes, precisely. You know how you sniff milk when you're not quite sure if it's gone bad? Can't say I can do that. Well, actually, I don't even have to worry about that. I'm actually kind of lactose intolerant. I developed a very slight intolerance to milk products. Just a tiny one. I can't drink cow's milk and I can't have ice cream. Everything else is still good, and I hope to God it stays that way. I miss ice cream, dude. And then your nose is assaulted by that foul odor that you weren't expecting? Well, it's a bit like that. Heed my words, madame. Do not make a habit of stealing for your own safety. Ooh, we said we're sorry. Please, it was all Snowy's fault. Oh, brother. Anyway, we can confidently say that we both saw the milk bucket, right, Precious? And as for the lantern falling, we don't know much about that, do we now, Schnookums? Schnookums. Besides, how can you be sure the lantern fell just because it has a little mud on it?
Hold it!
What do you mean? Well, maybe the mud was already on the lantern before any of this happened. Did you ever think of that? Before any of this happened? Like, maybe it's been there since last week. It did rain last week too, after all. And if that's the case, then there really isn't any point arguing about whether or not she dropped the lantern. Right? Indeed. What say you, Defender? I say, take a closer look at the lantern. You'll notice there's mud on the glass. Mud on the glass? The lantern wouldn't be very useful with all that mud blocking out the light. I mean, there are plenty of other directions you could shine it. Miss Kira, I'd say your little theory regarding this lantern is muddy at best. Ooh, snap! How? I could point at witnesses till the cows come home. That wouldn't turn this testimony into anything I can use. I've got to find a lead somewhere. These eyes do not lie. I saw the lantern in the accused's hand when the incantation was uttered.
Hold it!
This is important. Are you sure you really saw that lantern? You are but a petty baker, are you not? It is not your place to be telling me what is important. There is but one thing of importance: ridding this town of its witches as quickly as possible.
Objection!
Hardly. I'd say this is far more important. What? We're trying to find out the truth here. How absurd! That girl is a witch, I say! A witch! I would stake my entrance into the Knights of the Inquisition on it. Listen well, whelp. Yes, Sir Barnum. Many young men within the ranks of the knighthood share your level of passion. However, you let your ambition completely blind you, the same way that a muddy lantern leaves one blind and helpless in the dark. What? This guy. Yes, indeed. I would say he is quite the tough motivator.
What do you think, Nick? Did you notice anything fishy?
Yeah, possibly. I think there may be something I can use.
Really? Wow, I didn't hear anything special.
There was definitely something out of place about that one witness's testimony. It was something I haven't noticed from any of the other witnesses so far. It appears you may have found something, Mr. Wright. A 4-witness cross-examination. This is something I've never done before. But then, maybe there's another way I should be tackling this. I believe it is worth trusting that intuition, Mr. Wright. Okay, got it. Alright, let's try pressing that old man one more time. Aha! Okay. Yeah, I was thinking, is this gonna be the intro of like a new game mechanic? Or is it just the game trying to say, hey, something Wordsmith is saying contradicts with what Mary believes, but hey now.
Hold it!
The lantern fell after the incantation. Are you positive about that? I say, I am positively positive that I am positive. I heard her voice and then sploosh. That sploosh, was that the sound of the lantern hitting the ground? Indeed, but of course, do you see? You know, I would think the sploosh would be the slopping sound of the milk. But if you look at the lantern, you'll notice that the glass is shattered. You specifically said you heard a sploosh. Shouldn't you have heard the sound of the glass shattering when it hit the ground? The sound of glass shattering? No, I'm afraid I failed to catch your drift.
Hold it!
There it is, right there. I knew I heard something strange.
Huh? But old Graybeard didn't say anything weird.
Maya, it's not the old guy that said something weird. It's the person next to him.
Next to him? Oh, look there, Professor. The goat lady. She looks really deep in thought.
It would seem she has noticed something odd in this elderly gentleman's testimony.
Oh. That's right. These cross-examinations have 4 witnesses. Hey, Nick, it looks like we're not the only ones paying attention to these testimonies.
You're right. Which means if they're all listening to each other's testimonies... Correct, Mr. Wright. Each witness is fully aware of themselves and their own actions when in the middle of their own testimonies. However, it is while listening to the testimonies of others that the witnesses may sometimes reveal the most valuable information. I see. It's habitual. They can't tell they're doing it, but I can. And I'm going to use it to turn the tide back in our favor. In fact, I do believe I may have spotted our first opening in which to test this new technique. Mr. Wright, could I draw your attention to the touchscreen? The touchscreen. Sliding the magnifying glass during a witness's testimony will allow you to shift your focus across to another witness. Wow! So it's not the ones just immediately adjacent that I'll have to look at, it's everyone, huh? Right, so the important thing here isn't the witness that's in mid-testimony. It's the other 3 witnesses listening. It's just a matter of catching them off guard and questioning them.
What are you waiting for, Nick?
Let's give it a shot. How about we try questioning the goat lady next to the old graybeard? Okay, all I have to do is slide the magnifying glass over to that witness. We even heard her voice a bit. Oh. Ah, good, and you can even, you see here when you slide over to another person, you still have their profile in view. But yeah, let's question her.
Hang on!
Hang on? That's new. Boy, this is neat. This feels like an evolution of watching a witness body language in Apollo Justice. I like this. This is neat. Excuse me, Miss Mary. Oh, do you mean us? But Snowy and I have nothing else left to say. I knew it. I caught her completely by surprise. Mr. Wordsmith just gave his testimony. He told us all about the sound he heard when the lantern fell to the ground. Mr. Wordsmith didn't seem too sure, but I wonder if you might happen to have something to say about this. Yeah. The sploosh sound and she watched the bucket, oh yeah. Huh? Well, that's... Oh, I get it. The sploosh. If the bucket dropped and the milk splashed directly upwards, maybe the splash would have, coated the invisible scepter in liquid? Maybe? Or, well, no, that'd actually be really bad if it did. Never mind. Is that all right, Sir Barnum? May we answer the question? Do what you will, madame. There is no need for formalities. Uh-huh. Well, we'll try and explain, won't we, Snowy? The truth is we did hear something. That is to say, we heard the sound of the lantern's glass shattering. We're sure of it. It was frighteningly loud. It quite startled us, didn't it, Snowy dear? I looked in the direction of the sound, but I couldn't see anything, let alone the girl or those two thieves. It was a tad dark, after all. When the glass shattered, the flame inside must have gone out. Hence, she could not see them. That seems to be the gist of it. Then, as I peered into the darkness, I heard it. You heard it? What did you hear exactly? You know, that I heard. The incantation for the spell Ignaze. What did you just say? Now hold it right there, witness. Yes, my lord. The glass shattered when the lantern fell. Then, after that, you heard the incantation for the spell Ignaze. Do you swear to this court that this is, without a doubt, correct? Yes. Maybe, I think. How about my testimony? What of my oratorical observation? That a blasted spell, Ignaze, occurred first. Then the lantern plummeted to the ground. I heard no such thing. There was no sound of shattering glass. Absurd, simply absurd. So the lantern fell and the glass shattered? That does not change the very fact that this girl is a witch.
Objection!
I hate to disappoint you, but that's not quite the case.
In fact, this testimony changes things a lot. Wouldn't you agree, Inquisitor Barnum? What is the meaning of this? Let's go over what we know so far. In order for a witch to use any magic, they must be holding a witch's scepter. And yet, none of the 4 witnesses saw the defendant holding a scepter of any kind. That's because the scepter was made to disappear with the spell Dimir, correct? At the time of the crime, the 2 victims grabbed Miss Cantabella's arm, causing her to drop the lantern onto the ground. If, at the time, she was in fact holding an invisible scepter, then the scepter must have fallen when she dropped the lantern. Now, let's say hypothetically that Miss Cantabella really is a witch. In order to use any magic, she would have had to recite the spell before dropping the scepter. However, as our witness, Miss Mary, has just stated in her testimony, she heard the incantation for Ignace after hearing the lantern's glass shatter. What? Oh. You do all understand what that means, don't you? It means that Miss Cantabella, the supposed witch you've locked up, could not possibly have cast any magic. Therefore, the defendant, Espella Cantabella, is clearly in no way, shape, or form a witch. Huh? I guess he's full of hot air, but boy, that was ridiculous. Such frivolity. Do you realize what you're insinuating? Do you really think she is not a witch? Such nonsense. Did any of you even listen to my testimony? We did, but you're wrong. There was no glass shattering. Are you calling me a liar, Missy? You couldn't even see the mud on the lantern when it was plain as day. What ridiculous claims, all of you! Oh, hush. Take your little toy sword and go back to playing pretend, Sir Knight. Damn. Witnesses, this is a court of law, not a playground. Must I remind you of the importance of these proceedings? Witches and their magic threaten our fair town of Labyrinthia. Your words here today could decide the fate of every single citizen within our walls. Do you understand? As such, I expect each of you to take your role seriously and testify honestly about what you saw. Well, that shut them up. Holy crap. In all my days as a judge of this court, I have never seen such behavior. Behavior that leaves a cloud of doubt over the credibility of each of your testimonies. Indeed, my lord. Quite a miserable set of witnesses, this lot. I see. It would appear this trial has come to a sudden halt. Huh? So, that must mean... Quite right. It means you have won this trial, Mr. Wright. We've... won? I can hardly believe the situation we have found ourselves in. I did not anticipate this trial ending with such a strange turn of events. But, due to these witnesses' dubious credibility, I can see no reason to continue. What say you, Inquisitor Barnum? As you wish, my lord. Really? Did we actually win? Huh. What is going on? They're actually going to let this witch run free through the town? Curses, if it wasn't for that witch and her friends. Barnum, please step up to the plate and quell their bloodthirstiness.
Hold it!
Who? Who?
Wait a blooming second. This trial ain't even close to being over.
It's some guy.
Not before I take the stand to testify.
Huh?
Order! Order! Who is this buffoon? Behold! Who am I, you ask? Who am I? Why? I'm the man that's gonna single-handedly save this trial. I'm the fifth witness.
Say what?
Huh? What?
Even Barnum didn't see this one coming.
I didn't either. I was thinking that Barnum would spring some other extra thing on us, but yeah, no, okay. This guy sure seems full of himself, so. Just as I thought, this trial was going down the drain before I got here. Okay, you lot, assemble. We need a strategy meeting ASAP. I say, who are you? Thank goodness you showed up. We can't give up now, everyone. It has come down to this. To arms, everyone. We shall do battle against that baker and that hat seller. Hat seller? I can't believe this. What the heck is going on? Truly fascinating. It seems a new witness has taken the stand. What's more, he appears to be quite the formidable witness. Well, I guess this trial is still far from over. They're getting this story straight. Oh, that poor lamb. To be continued. Right now. We still got a little bit of time left in this video. You could do a lot in 10 minutes. I could beat the game in 10 minutes. Okay, I probably can't do that much. Well then, we will now continue with the trial of Isabella Cantabella. Oh boy. A group of witnesses huddling up before a joint testimony in a witch trial. You can't make this stuff up. Inquisitor Barnum, if I may ask you a question. Yes, my lord. We now have 5 witnesses on the stand, so I must ask, why was this obnoxious-looking man left out of your initial group of witnesses? Baldy's right, Barnum. That's just cold-blooded. There is but one reason, my lord. I did not know this witness even existed. Huh? You, sir, failed to come forward. When we were asking for witnesses for this very trial, you were nowhere to be seen. That's because I didn't hear a peep about it. I ain't usually around at night except for maybe at Rouge's Tavern. So, you're basically telling us that you were up all night drinking. Huh. Anyway, it's all water under the bridge now, as far as I'm concerned. Just leave the rest to yours truly. Har 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 har. During the last interrogation, the defender brought forth some surprising proof. Namely, that there was little possibility the accused could have used magic. I have never heard such a claim. It must be the doing of this logic. What rubbish. Logic, you say? I ain't got a clue what that is. But I do know that this bread bacon baker ought to head back to the bakery.
Eloquently said.
Oi, Gramps, give me and me partners over here a chance to speak. You want to know how this witch managed to be holding that scepter, don't you? Oh, when you say Gramps, you wouldn't mean me, would you? I fail to see anyone else meeting such a description.
We'll show you she's a witch. I'll bet Snowy's beautiful white coat on it. On guard.
All right, team, let's do this. Witnesses. Yes, well, let us proceed with the testimonies.
Why do I feel like I've totally lost control of this situation? I feel you, Phoenix. Oh, brother.
And this music, though.
Oh, she ate it again. Why did you do that?
See, Raymond Shields had an explanation. It made sense, it was cute.
Why are you eating those flowers? It's clear as day. Espella is a witch. We are not backing down on this.
When she dropped the lantern, the scepter was not yet in her hands.
The scepter must have been hidden by magic and carried on her back. The rogues grabbed her by the hand that held the lantern, so she must have had another way of holding that scepter.
That's easy. The girl just put the bucket down on the ground and picked up the witch's magic stick. So she had the witch's scepter behind her back. She then dropped the lantern and reached for the scepter after it fell. If that is the case, then it must have been possible for the accused to have used magic.
This is bad. Thanks to this guy, now all the witnesses seem extra determined to pin this thing on Espella.
They each harbor a shared anger towards witches and magic. Such is the cause of their strong desire to see a guilty verdict passed down as quickly as possible. However, such confidence is undoubtedly bound to cloud their better judgment and thinking.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think these guys mean any real harm, but they're all riled up. They don't even realize how distorted their idea of what happened tonight has become. At least that's how it seems. This isn't good, Professor. The witnesses aren't thinking straight. They're completely blind to the truth.
Sir Baker, or rather, Sir Wright?
Aha! Respect!
Yes. You do not appear to be a mere simple baker. That much is clear. On the other hand, you are no ordinary defender either.
Never before has a defender managed to clash and do battle with me here on this battlefield as an equal. Sir Blue Knight, this trial has not yet been decided. If there is any doubt in your interrogation, I will not hesitate to strike your case down where it stands. I understand.
Defender, please begin your interrogation. next time. Well, hey! That's really fun. Pressing witnesses is always so fun. Now you're telling me that there's something extra to look out for while I do it, man? There's such a great evolution of the formula. Multiple witnesses at once, and when you press them, you look at the body language of all the others to see what they think of what the witness is saying. 'Cause yeah, man, wow. Like, there may have been like 1 or 2 exceptions, but pretty much every time you press someone in an Ace Attorney game, the only thing that matters is your opinion. But now the opinions of the other characters matter a whole lot more. It's not just that someone could be lying. They could be wrong about something, and some other witness would clarify, or... Ah, man. Okay, look, I'm no stranger to how the video game industry works. Spin-offs and collaborations. Rarely do you see game mechanics introduced in such titles carry over back to the main franchise. But I will say this. If there are future Ace Attorney games, 5 and 6, and the 2 great Ace Attorney games, if those games have anything resembling what's going on here, I'd be happy, because I think this system is really cool. You know, speaking of great Ace Attorney, I guess I should say this. Earlier in this playthrough, I was like, oh, well, I guess I can't go play Ace Attorney 5 then, because there's a big fancy HD collection that I want to wait for. And if I'm playing this franchise in sequential release order, well, I have to wait for Ace Attorney 5. Well, I gave it a lot of thought. I mean, I gave it a lot of thought. I might as well just say it now. Once I finish this game here, I am going to be playing Dark Souls 3, the Convergence mod. Okay, Dark Souls 3, the Convergence mod. That was a series I tried Let's Playing, and I got like halfway through the mod, maybe slightly less, but then the mod broke. And, well, in recent days I did a lot of tinkering, and thank goodness I saved my save file, but yeah, I got it back up and working, so I think I'll be playing that next. And once that's finished, we'll be doing the Great Ace Attorney 1 and 2. I'm hyped. Well, anyway, yeah, great stuff. I'm loving these characters. It's pretty clear all of these are mostly... Well, actually, you know what? No. You know, I was gonna say that these characters like Wordsmith and Nidal, they could be one-off characters, we never see them again after this trial, but no, that's not true, is it? There's a pretty big chance Layton will run into them later and we can do some puzzles with them, so that'd be neat. Not Kira, though. Kira's getting the torch. She is going straight into that fire. Like, I still have seen nothing to quell my suspicions of her. Not a shred of anything that points away from her, so yeah. Anyway, I'm Zephyr the Jester. This has been more Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you next time. So until then, please take care.